Just going to bring on Ashley here. We're going to be chatting about shifting timelines in the new paradigm. Hey, Ashley, long time no see.
Hey, right?
All right, so our conversation today is going to be really all about shifting timelines
Mhm.
and really anchoring into the timeline that we want to see as we bring in this new earth, as we shift into this new paradigm. And if you guys don't already know, Ashley and I have launched back in October the New Paradigm Leadership Circle, now called the New Paradigm Leadership Network. And really, this is about bringing together other leaders. Some may also be entrepreneurs, maybe also might be healers, might be creators, whatever. It doesn't really matter what it is that you're doing. It's the understanding that you are here to embody the light and to share that light and spread that light. And as lame as this sounds, be the change that you want to see in this world, but it's what it is. It just
No.
call it what it fucking is. And that's what it is. And something Ashley and I have been talking about a lot over these last several months is really about how do we just like wake the fuck up to the awareness that we have the potential and the ability to really actually create and anchor in the frequencies that we want to be seeing around us. And it begins with how we're perceiving the world around us. It begins with really choice, because that's I think what it comes down to, right, is choice. What are you choosing to feed into? What are you choosing to believe? Yeah, so Ashley, I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, so I feel like the big thing right now that, we keep having conversations about it. I feel like a lot of people in the industry are talking about it. Even, I made the reel the other day and I was like, everyone keeps talking about this, but I just feel like it's so important right now is to really choose that higher timeline for humanity. That to me just seems like the most important thing that we can do right now. And I think that one of the big things with a lot of people in general is, we were having that conversation before, is a lot of people don't believe in themselves, that they don't understand energy, or they don't understand frequency. And people say that they believe in it, but there's got to be a strong belief in order to create that reality. So the big thing with NPLN is we're here to create the reality. We're here to help hold space for the communities. We're here to create the network of people. And like Alyssa you were saying, like, you don't have to be super, like, you don't have to be a spiritual practitioner or somebody in the industry to be an NPLN. What NPLN is basically you're over that old paradigm and you're ready to create the new.
Exactly.
And that's
Exactly.
really what we're holding space for in NPLN.
Because I think one of the hardest parts about that and about this whole situation, because like you and I have talked before, like we're not immune to, getting
Mhm.
into a place or space where it feels like we're gonna be okay. Like
Yeah.
we got this, right?
Mhm.
Like it's gonna be okay. And that's I think one of the beautiful things about coming together in community and having that network and creating that network so that we can also remind each other, so that we can remember ourselves that this is part of the path, like this is part of the work. And I think sometimes there's a distortion in the spiritual community and everything else, that it all has to be easy.
Yeah.
And choosing the higher timeline doesn't necessarily mean that it's, oh, finally it's not going to feel like so much work, right, or so dark, or things like that. There's these things are always going to be coming up and coming through, but it's about choosing what we do with that, right? So coming together, remembering why we're here, reminding each other of our power, and actually taking ownership of that,
Mhm.
taking ownership of that. And there was something that you said, Ashley, when we were talking yesterday about, so for anybody who doesn't know, right now I'm part of an active movement in my local community, in my town, about things that are happening that are just very much not okay. They're putting up these facilities that are damaging to our environment, to potentially to our health. They're going to ruin everything. So people are really coming together with on all of this. And Oh, I just lost my train of thought with that. Oh yeah. So as we were talking about, there's like this, big town hall meeting tonight, actually, whatever. And, I was saying there's like kind of this level of fear that
Mhm.
starts to come up for me. And, like actually you said something along the lines of like, well, this is like what we're doing is dangerous. Like it is like we are messing with the power, the people in power who are actively trying to suppress us, to just make us be cogs in a wheel and to just go through the motions and just bend over and fucking take it,
Mhm.
and going up against that is not always going to feel good. And a lot of times it does feel really good because it feels really exciting and hopeful. And it makes my heart so happy to see people coming together and putting other differences aside and just like, all of this, and the way that they're doing it and the way they're diving in. It's like, it's epic. It's awesome. But there is also this like fear of like, oh my gosh, I'm, now going against this darker, kind of scarier power. And it's helpful to have, again, just like the community to lean into and know that that's sort of part of it. But once it's about, I think, choosing that timeline and then following it and just trusting,
Mhm.
just trusting that the decisions that I'm making, the information that's
Right.
coming through, that, and even though there is that fear, still trusting that this is right. And to the point of what we were talking about before, that I'm safe, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, and I think that's the thing too, is when we start choosing the higher timelines, there's going to be action that we need to take that is going to be scary in some way or another. I think that that's things that people need to realize too is, okay, let's pull in these higher frequencies, this higher timeline, let's move, let's go. And then the divine's going to be like, okay, well, here you go do your part now in creating that. And it really could be anything. It could be like, maybe, you got to go to the next level in your business. Maybe these people that are in NPLN are going to have to take action in their local town. It could be anything with what is going on with these higher frequencies. Now, if we're talking just collective in general, there's going to be so many people that they're going to, all of a sudden, they're going to wake up and they're going to be like, I can't be at this job anymore, or they're going to lose their jobs. We're talking a lot now about you homeschool your kids. There's going to be so many moms that are going to feel that pull to take their kids out of the system and out of schools. And there's going to be that fear there of, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to do it. Is this the right thing for my kid? Even though they feel it intuitively that it's the right thing. These are the things that we're going to be asked to do with this higher frequency coming in. So, one of the things I'm being asked to do is open up my space and have more in person again, and other aspects like traveling and doing different things. So that's going to be a big piece of NPLN, is that support system. Communities are a big deal right now, because the more we come together and we're co-creating and we're verbally speaking, this is what we want, this is what we don't want anymore, and we will begin to create that more easily. If we're just saying this in our bedroom while we're pissed off at like something going on and we're thinking about something, it's not going to create as much of an impact. That's why communities like NPLN are so important, because like, hey guys, this is what I'm feeling, waking up, seeing this shit, like blah, 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 blah. It's going to be constant movement,
Yeah,
constant movement.
right. And I think that's an important piece to bring up too. Like, it's not about like trauma dumping, right?
Right.
It's not about coming in and venting about
Yeah.
all the things that are happening that you're annoyed by. Like, that's not productive.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing. It's about like, how can we use our energy to be productive in being the change and in, taking that action.
Right.
And there was something else that you had said too that I wanted to comment on about. Oh yeah, just about the power of doing it together. I don't think I may have
Mm-hmm.
shared this in our last live, but there are multiple studies out there showing that when people come together and focus their consciousness on a unified intention, how the energy amplifies, and how that I mean, it will literally has shown to reduce crimes in areas, to reduce casualties during time of war. I mean, all kinds of things. So when we are all coming together and unifying over this timeline that we all want to see. And just like within my town, like you might say, like, well, what if we all don't want the same things? The core things that we're really calling
Right.
in are like virtues, right? You know, like what we're really all calling in is peace. And peace might look different to you than it does to me, than it does to somebody else. But that doesn't matter. When we're all calling it in, we are each going to experience that in our own individual ways. When we come together to unify our intention towards the timeline of unconditional love and compassion and acceptance and all of that, like, again, that's going to manifest very differently within each of our individual lives, but collectively we all get to experience it. And again, that's a choice, right? That's a choice. If you're saying that's not possible, you're saying, or whatever, you are choosing a timeline that is going in a different direction, and it's not bad. That's your choice. Like, you have free will, like you get to decide that. But we know that there are so many people out there who want to make the choice
And
for
want
this
to do something.
and do something about it, and do something about it. It feels like we're really coming out of a time energetically where there was a lot of like hesitation, like a lot like hesitation, stagnation, maybe feeling like you should be doing something or whatever. And now is the time. Like, that's like what I'm seeing right now in my micro world right now is like there is no delaying. We have to act now, or this happens, which is literally so scary. Like, we don't even know if we would be able to sell our house after this thing, passes or goes in, right? Like, really, really big. And it doesn't also have to get to that point either to take action. Like, I'm really hoping, for example, that what's happening in our community, in our town, wakes people up in other towns across our state, in other states across the country, to say, like, okay, like, there are people in power who care. There are people, at the bottom who can initiate something that creates a huge ripple effect and empowers people to take action and make change. Like, that is possible. Just think for a minute about what would happen in whatever state it is that you live in if every town came together and started holding their governors, their town councils, their mayors accountable for the shit that's actually going on.
Right.
Because we can't be talking about no kings and, fuck the president and all that stuff without actually doing something at the ground level. Like, this is where change really happens. Like, you want something to change up there, you have to start with where you actually have control.
Yeah, and that's in your day-to-day life. Yep. And one of the things that I was seeing when you were talking is you're talking about like all the people coming together and good leaders in power. Well, you got to think there's probably a lot of good leaders right now who feel very defeated. And the only way that they're going to feel that, like, okay, I'm going to lead, I'm going to create changes, is they need to have the people to back them.
Yes.
That was something that I saw really strongly, is I feel like there probably are a lot of good leaders right now that really want to step up, or they want to make real moves. They need the people to back them. Instead of focusing on rallies of like, I hate my president and I can't stand my president. Like, if that's something that you want to do, great. But we can interject in local communities first, and then you kind of work your way up from there, where things will actually probably more consciously shift too on a higher level if you go from the bottom first. So the big thing with NPLN is definitely we want active people in there. Mm-hmm. We want people in there that are going to be like, hey, I am ready to create changes. I need to connect with people. I need to network with people that feel the same, and then creating the movement from there. So that is definitely the big thing with NPLN is not like, hey, this sucks. It's like, no, we're going to make shit happen.
Exactly. And that's why we moved it from a completely open container. Like, we were doing calls once a month where we just kind of invited people into, and, we realized that we had to put it behind a paywall. We had to put it within a closed community, because otherwise it's just watchers.
Right.
Otherwise which is great. And we're
Mhm.
here, like we're here, still here to share this message with everybody, but NPLN is really where you come into, like you said, if you're ready to make the change, if you're
Yeah.
ready to take action, because that is what we need. We're in the year of the fucking fire horse,
Mhm.
like we are in Aries energy right this second. Like this is about moving forward, and also just really helping to light the fire, like for everybody else. I'm trying to remember when it was that I had this visual. I think it was in, I don't remember if it was in a breathwork practice or what it was, but what I was seeing was this sort of like fire, and it was within me, like it was like I was the fire, and it was like outside in like the desert at night, and then I just saw these torches all coming, like these sticks, and like
Mhm.
lighting their torch with my fire, and then they were going around and creating their own fires and spreading fires around that. So it wasn't like a destructive fire, but it was like, initiatory.
Mhm.
It was spreading the light. It was, like, because this is something that I've seen happen multiple times where I'll say something, I'll finally step up and say something, whatever, and then people share it, people like it,
Yep.
people comment on it, and then I see them creating their own posts, their
Mhm.
own content, saying the thing that
Yep.
they've been wanting to say. So by me doing that, I gave them permission.
Mhm.
And the same thing was happening within our town, where it
Mhm.
started with my neighbor, Vanessa.
That's it.
She takes full credit for, really starting all of this. And I just saw it and I'm like, let's get this
Mhm.
out there to more. And ever since then, like seeing how that has given, again, other people permission to come up, say something, do the research, challenge things, question things. This is what we all need to be doing, but we
Yeah.
can't be doing this if we're distracted. We can't be doing this if we're not grounded and anchored and our channels are open and clear. That's why that work, that inner work, that personal development, that spiritual development, that embodiment work is always so important and so core. And actually, one thing that Ashley is throwing into NPLM is the down the rabbit hole, which I was
Mhm.
looking at that. I was looking at the modules that you have in there and the activations and the clearings and stuff that are in there. Like, this is the work that we need to be doing, because for thousands and thousands of years, I don't even know how long, these we have had this oppression,
Mhm.
energetically, like had this oppression on us, where it's time to release that. Like, it's time to let that go, and it's time to really move forward and lead.
Yeah. And I think the big thing is the actual physical action piece,
Mm-hmm.
you know? Um, because that's the thing too, is like there's just a lot of I want to do something, right? Everybody gets to that point. We all get to that point. I want to do something, and then it fizzles out. So like we're even seeing like with the Epstein files, I'm like, people stop talking about this. I think I need to talk about it again. Start talking about it again. You know what I mean? Because it's just like, no, we can't forget about this. You know, this is an issue. And I'm not saying that you have to constantly keep going down the rabbit hole, but just that's the problem, is there's so many distractions and things coming up that they make you try to forget about things that have happened. It's like, these people need to be held accountable for what happened in these files. So yeah, it really is like we are in an action phase. And I think that has a lot to do with us stepping into a lot of Aries energy this year, when I think we've been in a lot of Pisces energy for the last few years, where we're like, what do we do? You know, so a lot of us have been in
Swimming
this, like,
around.
yeah, we're just like, oh, we got to do something, but we don't know what. And if you're feeling this, I got to do something, that you got to drop that all the way into your lower chakras and make a move, you know? So it's connecting with people in your local community. It's going to events. It's a lot of it is connecting to like-minded people. I feel like if you're confused, and then things are just going to open up where you know where to take action. I feel like that's another piece of it too.
Yeah, if you don't know what to do yet, put yourself in the rooms, right?
Right.
Put yourself in the room with other people, because that is going to initiate you. That's going to open something up. It's going to trigger you in the best possible way. to understand what action you need to take. And you don't have to be the spearhead of it. Like, it could be a
No.
bandwagon that you're jumping
Yeah.
on. You know,
Yeah.
like I'm not going to take over being in charge of all this stuff with the town by
Right.
any means, but I'm so here to support you, you know, and here to voice my opinion and rally people and do whatever I can do within it.
Right.
And that's the thing. And you might know right now, like you might know right now what it is that you need to be doing, or you might just have this feeling of like, I need to do something, but I don't know what that is yet. And again, that's what you need to do. You need to either take action on that thing that you've been told, that you've been getting that divine download for, or you need to put yourself in spaces that are going to shake something up within you. I mean, that's why Ashley and I were talking about. So I have a Candace Owens obsession. Like it's my thing. I love to listen to Candace Owens, and I don't agree with her on everything, but the woman spits truth. Like it's just true. You can't deny it. And so I'm like, I took a long break from it. A long break, i.e., 2 weeks. I'm catching up now. You know, and you know, I was asking him, like, I'm like, is this not good for me to, like, you know, be like exposed, like energetically, just like putting myself in this place where I'm like hearing these things and whatever. Like, is this, you know, am I just like addicted to it? Am I like addicted to like the almost like a TV show, you know, of like, you know, just like the drama or whatever? And you said you were like, it like it fires me up in the best possible way. In the best possible way. I don't leave it feeling defeated or feeling, you know, whatever. Like I leave it feeling like we gotta fucking do something. Like it's like this is fucking bullshit, you know? So maybe it's also again just putting yourself in situations where you're, you know, where you're doing that. And it's also important too to like kind of have that inner discernment of like, again, like just like I asked myself that question, like, is this actually good for me? Like, is this serving me, or is this keeping me in a lower frequency, in a lower vibration? You have to ask yourself and honestly listen to the real answer to that question, because like going down the rabbit hole with the Epstein files, you know, like there's, I think only to a degree that we need to go and be looking and seeing these things. More so, it's about the accountability. It's about the action. And what does that look like? Phone your, I feel like this is going to be a big thing I'm going to bring to NPLN too, is like, because now that I'm in it a little bit more in my local government, like phoning your council people, your representatives, right? Like all the ways that we can say, like, we are not standing for this. We are not, our money, because that's who's, that we are paying them. Everybody, you pay your taxes. We are paying for this. And this fucking sucks, and I don't know the answer. And if anybody has any ideas on how to stop paying taxes, please let me know. Please, thank you. But you know, we need to say like we are not okay with this. But you can't wait for somebody else to do it. You know, you can't say, oh well, enough people, they'll make the phone call, they'll send the email, they'll do, you know. You can't.
That's what we're trying to move. Like we're trying to get rid of that in NPLN. We're trying to make this a very action-based place where it's like, hey, I see this issue going on. Well, hey, we have somebody else in the group that's, oh, maybe in your area, you know, like that's, we want it to grow to that point where it's just this network of people connecting and helping each other. And I think the thing with Candace Owens is she gets shit done, whether you like her or not, you know, everybody has her opinions about Candace Owens. She gets shit done. So, and that's the thing is we've been programmed to not do anything. So you see someone like Candace Owens, regardless of whether you like her, she's going to trigger people anyways. You're going to trigger the fuck out of people when you start getting shit done.
Yep. It takes a thick skin. It really, really does. Like you can't be worried about what people are going to think. You can't be worried about, you know, being cast out, being cast aside, which is really hard because we are tribal beings. And there is a very real internal sense that says, if I don't belong, I am not safe. I'm not going to survive. So we have to remember that's not true anymore. You know, that's not true anymore.
there's a lot of people that feel the same way as you. And once you start speaking up, like you said, people are like, God damn, I feel this way too, you know? So that's, you can't, you got to have balls, man. If we want higher timelines with higher frequency, you got to have some astral balls in there. You're not going
You
to be
do.
able to pull these energies in if you're constantly fearful of what's this person going to think of me? And oh my God, this isn't safe and this is scary. And we're in great change. This
Yeah.
time is going to go down in history. So you're
Yeah.
either going to be sitting on the sidelines watching and like hoping for something to happen, or you're going to be a part of it. I'm going to be a fucking part of it, you know? And if I feel like a part of my thing is like a lot of that Epstein stuff, like that energy, it's like hold these fucking people accountable.
Mm-hmm.
When people say to me, well, nothing's going to happen, I'm like, I don't hold that timeline.
Yes.
I don't hold that timeline that nothing is going to happen to these people because I don't believe that.
I don't believe that either. I don't believe that either. I think that's what they're hoping for.
Oh,
I think that's the timeline. I think that's the timeline they're doing their sacrifices for.
Oh,
you
yeah,
know?
that's the timeline through the satellites they live. Like, we're not going to be held accountable. And we have to be like, yes, the fuck you are. That's it. So NPLN really, if you want a fire lit under your ass, you're ready to make moves on this planet. You're ready for higher timelines. You're ready to be in a group of people that feel the same way as you. And no, we're not all going to agree on everything. You know, that's the other thing is we want a diverse group of people who just really are the main aspect is you want to elevate the consciousness. It doesn't mean that we're all going to agree on everything either. So I think that that's the whole problem with this planet right now is if you're not in this box with me, then I don't want to work with you. We have to put a lot of things aside in order to create these higher timelines and these higher frequencies. And one of the things is you have to realize that not everybody is like you and not everybody agrees with every single thing that you agree with.
Exactly. Yep. And that's why this space is so important and so powerful because it's hard to find spaces like that.
Right.
It's hard to find spaces where everybody is welcome, every perspective, every belief, because what we believe is that you are doing the best that you can with the information that you have. You are doing the best you can with the lifetime that you have lived up until this point, the experiences that you've had, the upbringing that you've had. We come to you with that understanding. It's up to you to be open to new information, to listen with compassion, to respect each other, right? And to believe that we're all good, you know, like at the very core of it. And I think this is something that I think the media and everything else has tried to really sway us, that some people just are not good people.
Right.
That some people are just, you know, whatever. And I don't believe that's true. I really don't believe that's true. I feel like every human being has that seed of potential that at their very, very core, they are a, you know, good, whatever you want to label, you know, good person. Like they are a worthy person of love and acceptance and all of that. And when we actually start to see others in that light, that's when you can come together in a commonality. That's when you can actually come together, because if you think that everybody with this particular political opinion are evil,
right,
good luck with that. You're not going to get very far.
And the same thing with the religious aspects of things too. So now we're in like religious wars right now.
Yep. Exactly. And it's going to be very old paradigm-ish, but might still feel natural to many to seek out that type of power, to seek out, you know, joining a religion. Nothing against anybody who practices religion, but you have to look at where you're giving your power away. You have to look at what you're sacrificing for your own autonomy. For what? You know? And I think that one thing that we need to see, so anybody listening who's not already doing this and feels the call to, bring your community together, bring your people together, have gatherings, host gatherings, you know, just bring physical human beings together, because then, like, just naturally, energetically, the light is going to overpower the darkness. You know, by coming together, people are going to gravitate towards, and that energy is going to grow, that is of the higher frequency and the higher vibration. We have to get off of our phones. I know it's cliche, we're doing this on a phone, but you know, but we do balance, right? But we have to stop leaning on technology as our sole source of connection and communicating. We have to get back to, you know, in person and connection. I mean, that's when I think of like the timeline that I'm anchoring into. Like when I think about what is the absolute highest timeline, it is people coming back to connecting with the earth.
Yeah.
It is people growing their own food. It is people, you know, helping each other in community, working together, playing together, resting together.
Resting.
Yeah, resting. It's allowing the space. There's so many new technologies that want to come through. And I don't mean like AI technology. I mean like frequency technology. Like it's insane. Like if you think like we're at a war for oil and whatever, and there is a reality that's not even far. It's literally here, just not enough people are embodying it yet, where energy is free.
Right.
Electricity is free. Nobody pays for it. This is what Tesla wanted, and they defunded him. You know,
there were other people too along the way that they just ended up dead, and I think a lot of it is hydrogen power.
Okay, I don't know anything about that, but
so yeah.
The solutions are out there.
They're already there.
Yeah,
it's just the powers that be don't want us to have it.
Exactly. Yeah. And it might not be you that has that answer, but you might be the light for somebody who does have that answer. You know, they might it might be coming through them, but it was not until they stepped into your presence or your community or whatever that, you know, or even just a conversation. Maybe it's something you're bumping into at the store, you know?
That stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like the whole fuel thing right now is they're probably going to try to create lockdowns because of the fuel crisis, but they just don't want us connecting, you know? So when I went in on my rods the other day and they spelled out hope, but it wasn't just the word hope. Like I felt the frequency coming through the rods. It's just showing people together and that communication piece, like even being in a room where people are having powerful conversations, like your last networking event was like that. We were all having powerful, open-hearted conversations. That is the most vile thing to these energies because that is what activates people. That is what helps people move. That is what helps people create. So that's what helps people open up too, you know, when I did the past life regression circle. So many people after that day, like when me and Amy hosted it, they felt so open. And that is a part of the process of getting people moving and going. They do not want people in the same rooms with each other having these conversations.
And they don't want people to feel hope. You know, they want you to be hopeless. They want you to be scared. You know, make decisions out of fear. They want you to, you know, point the pitchfork at people who are challenging this.
At your neighbor.
And we're deciding no. Like, I'm not here for that. I'm not here for that. And, you know, anytime it starts to look different around you, you have to look for the evidence that things are working out for your highest and best and the highest and best for all of us. Like, that is absolutely essential because, I mean, it's by design that everything else is in front of our faces saying otherwise, you know, that it's not going to be okay. This is how it's going to be in this, you know, and telling us these stories, it's a lot harder to look and see the beauty in it, but it's like a muscle that you just have to train. And the more often that you're looking for that evidence of that newer timeline, that higher timeline, that's how we really bring it in.
Right.
So we're going to be diving deeper into this. I think, is it April 23rd? Thursday, April 23rd?
Yeah, I think so. April 23rd.
Yeah, it's a
But I
Thursday.
suck at dates, so don't believe me.
Me too. I did. I wrote it down, but I don't even have the paper with me, so I would remember. But so you'll have to look it up on a calendar. But like 90% sure that's the date. 7 p.m. or 7:30 p.m. We're going to
Mhm.
be on Zoom. So this is again through the NPLN, the New Paradigm Leadership Network.
Mhm.
You can join us on Substack. You can join as a free subscriber if you just want to get alerted of when things are happening for now. If you're not feeling super called to like
Mhm.
take action, but if you're ready to take action and you want to do this work and you want to lead and help be a light in your community, then absolutely join the membership or the paid subscription.
Yes.
It's $30 a month. Not only do you get the monthly call that we do together, but there's also lots of resources for you,
Mhm.
trainings for you. Ashley's put a lot of really great stuff together. There are, kind of different perks we kind of throw in along the way just based on
Mhm.
intuitively what comes through. We have a chat where we kind of drop in other resources and things.
Yeah.
This was on Telegram, but again, we've moved it now all over to Substack.
Mhm.
So as things come in, or resources, sometimes it's sharing a YouTube video,
Right.
it's something that was really great, and it's not just us, it's, everybody else sharing too. Like we
Mhm.
want to be pulling together and bringing together all of these resources because that is what brings hope. Like it is for me, even like Ashley and I know both of us, like just having this space in this community and knowing that this many people, I mean, we have people who are like crying real tears of joy for finding this container and
Uh,
finding this space where these conversations are actually happening, where
right.
there's a place where we're actually focused on solutions,
Right.
not just resistance.
Yeah. And yeah, I think that's the thing is like there's a lot of talk, but not a lot of walk, and we need to be walking our walk, you know?
We need to be walking our walk, right? And we're not
Mhm.
perfect,
No.
but but we're
At
we're
least
just
we
doing it.
just do it. Just
We're just
fucking
doing
do
it.
it, you know?
Yep.
Get shit
Yeah.
done.
Yep, absolutely. So I will put a link to the Substack. If you're watching this in stories, I'll have the link there.
Mhm.
The link to our Substack, I believe, is in my link in bio. If not, it will be after this live. So go check it out. Go join. Again, even if it's just as a free subscriber, you won't be disappointed. We actually just did an epic 4-way podcast
Mhm.
transmission. We just got off the call of it where we
Yes.
go really, really deep into power, into God, what else there was so much that we talked about.
Reptilians.
There was a lot of reptilians. Yep. And so we did it with two other women
Mhm.
friends. Nikki Ananda and Alia Podgornik. And so that's going to be released, but got into some really deep stuff. So that's definitely going to
Mhm.
be behind the paywall. We can't release that to
Mhm.
everybody. So you can look forward to that kind of content on
Yeah.
there as well.
That was a great conversation.
It was. Yeah. All right. Well, we will all see you there. Feel free to reach out to either of us if you have any questions, any
Mhm.
ideas that you want to bring. Another thing that it's not like scheduled or planned yet, but it's something that we did in the past that I know we want to do more of in the future too, is more of these gatherings where we are all coming together again for that unified intention, using heart brain coherence
Mhm.
and actually sending energy to the earth, to the planet, to people, helping to open people's hearts. Obviously honoring free will, but really just helping to anchor that frequency and vibration on the planet. These are other things that we want to be doing more together, because again, it is as we come together that we really hold the most power and can
Yes.
initiate the most change.
Mhm. And have
Yeah.
those conversations. That's so
Yep.
important.
Yep. Absolutely. All right. Well, thanks for everybody who came
Thank
live.
you.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.